The Towns are an absolutely lovely family. Mama and Daddy Towns, let me be very, very clear. I love me some Karl-Anthony Towns. He looks awful.
We always kind of felt like, man, he's good. But sometimes you're just not sure which one shows up. Has he evolved this year, or are the things we worry about still very close to the surface?
Because Karl-Anthony Towns is making me proud. Like, just watching the growth of him, not just this year, but I'm talking about over the last 3 months. Like, I'm watching a whole different level of maturity.
January 12th, 2016. Karl-Anthony Towns is 20 years old. He has played 38 NBA games in his entire life. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in Minnesota, and Kevin Durant, a man who does not hand out compliments to opposing players, sits on the baseline at Target Center with ice on his knees before the game and says 7 words to a reporter. He's going to be a Hall of Famer in this league. Not a good player, not a future All-Star, a Hall of Famer. From the mouth of a player who is already one of the 5 best in the world, about a 20-year-old rookie who had not yet played a playoff game. The basketball world heard it, nodded politely, and then spent the next decade calling Karl-Anthony Towns soft. Now it is June 2026. Towns is in the NBA Finals, averaging 17.3 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 5.6 assists on 57% from the field. He is holding Victor Wembanyama, the most physically gifted center the sport has produced in a generation, in check. Charles Barkley, who spent years burying him, sat on national television after Game 2 and said the Finals MVP is going to be Towns. Kevin Durant said it 10 years ago in an empty arena before a regular season game. He was right, but nobody listened. To understand why Durant's quote mattered, you need to understand the context around it. January 2016, Towns is averaging 15.9 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks in 29 minutes per game. His PER is 21.6. He has 17 double-doubles in 38 games. He is playing all 82 games in a league where most centers cannot survive a full season without missing time. He will go on to win Rookie of the Year unanimously, the best rookie season for a big man since Tim Duncan entered the league in 1997. Durant was not making a reckless prediction. He was watching a 20-year-old do things at 7 feet that centers simply were not built to do. Towns could shoot threes off the dribble. He could handle in transition. He could pass out of the post, space the floor, operate from the elbow, and finish above the rim. The modern big man had arrived. And Durant, one of the best basketball minds in the sport, recognized what was in front of him before almost anyone else put it into words.
Hello, my name is Karl Towns, and I am a freshman basketball player at St. Joseph High School in Metuchen, New Jersey. Today, I enjoyed the unique opportunity to meet and interview one of my basketball idols. I wish him continued success on and off the court.
Here is the story gets complicated, because what happened between Durant's prediction and the NBA Finals is not a story about a player failing to live up to expectations. It is a story about how a narrative can become louder than the truth and stick. Towns gave them the numbers. For 9 seasons in Minnesota, he averaged 22.9 points and 10.8 rebounds, while shooting 39.8% from 3 for his career. 4 All-Star selections.
Enjoy the present. And John Calipari told me that in college, and I know it sounds something simple, but enjoy the moments you have with everyone. Good or bad, there's always going to be another challenge, and you have to be presently ready to, 1, accept the blessings, or 2, to accept the challenge and the learning experience. So just always be present mentally, physically, spiritually, in everything you do, and the future will look pretty damn good when you get to it.
Numbers that, stripped of context, look like exactly the player Durant described. The Hall of Famer was quietly being built in statistics nobody was fully crediting. But in Minnesota, the wins never came at the right time. In his first 2 playoff games in 2018, he scored a combined 13 points as James Harden and Chris Paul put the Timberwolves in an early hole the series never recovered from. In the 2022 series against Memphis, with his team down 20 in a series-defining Game 3, Towns attempted 4 shots. Memphis came back twice and took over. In 9 years with the Timberwolves, Towns and the team made the playoffs 3 times and never won more than 1 series. And then came the practice that changed everything about his public perception permanently. Jimmy Butler, unhappy with his contract situation in Minnesota, walked into training camp in 2018 and spent an afternoon dismantling both Towns and Andrew Wiggins in front of the entire organization. He said things that crossed lines most professionals will not cross publicly.
You returned to practice for the first time with the Wolves, and I'm just gonna read a little bit of Adrian Wojnarowski's report on what happened there. That you were loud, emotional, passionate, we like to say, targeting Coach Tom Thibodeau, teammates like Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, that you told GM Scott Layton, quote, "You effing need me." How would you describe what happened today?
An NBA insider later told the Post, "Somebody can write a script about you, and that thing never changes." Butler wrote the script, the internet printed it, and suddenly Kevin Durant's 7-word prediction from 2016 felt like ancient history. The conversation was no longer about Hall of Fame trajectories. It was about whether Karl-Anthony Towns was built for the moment at all. Draymond Green trolled him publicly. Fans counted his 0 series wins. When Towns said on a podcast that people were going to remember him as someone who changed the game, the backlash was immediate and merciless. The Hall of Famer Kevin Durant saw in 2016 had become the punchline of sports radio by 2023.
Timberwolves fans are still in shock tonight. Star player Karl-Anthony Towns has been traded to the New York Knicks. In exchange, the Wolves are picking up 2 players from New York and a first-round draft pick.
October 2024, late night, the Knicks sent Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to Minnesota and received Karl-Anthony Towns. Most people thought New York had overpaid. Most people were wrong. What happened next was not a reinvention, it was a revelation. Towns stepped into a lineup built around Jalen Brunson and immediately found what 9 years in Minnesota had never given him: the right role. Not the alpha, not the engine, the connector. The 7-foot weapon deployed in specific situations where his actual skill set, floor spacing, pick and roll action, passing out of the short roll, defensive switching, was maximized rather than strained.
Coming in after Jalen Brunson, also perfect guy for New York.
Absolutely.
Unflappable.
Yeah, the games, you just feel like he gonna hit the shot. You know, it's kind of like when you need a bucket, he always finds a way. So shout out to JB, man. Cap always finding a way to get the job done.
He made the All-Star team in his first Knicks season. He posted a career high in assists, and when the 2025 playoffs arrived, the Knicks eliminated the reigning champion Boston Celtics in 6 games in the second round. The moment the narrative around New York as a legitimate contender became impossible to dismiss. They went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals before the Indiana Pacers ended the run. Painful. But the foundation had been laid. The 2026 playoffs were different from the first game. New York swept Philadelphia in the second round. They swept Cleveland in 4 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. 4 games against a team that had been one of the best in the East all season. And now they are in the NBA Finals. 3 games to 1 up on the San Antonio Spurs. 1 win away from ending a 53-year championship drought. Towns was a foundational piece of every single round, and the matchup the whole basketball world had circled, Towns against Wembanyama, the 2 most skilled big men on the planet occupying opposite ends of the floor, is playing out in a way nobody predicted. Through 15 playoff games heading into the finals, Towns posted 16.9 points, 10.6 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 1.4 blocks, and 1.2 steals per game. His effective field goal percentage jumped from 55.6% in the regular season to 64.5% in the playoffs. He recorded the most assists by a Knicks center in a single postseason in franchise history. Then the finals started, and the matchup everyone had circled played out in a way nobody predicted. Game 1, against the most physically gifted center the sport has seen since Shaquille O'Neal. Towns finished with 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists in a 105-95 Knicks win.
Yeah. What was the difference in terms of intensity, effort, things that even possibly surprised you about Game 1 and being in your first NBA Final?
To be honest with y'all, I don't want to sound sugarcoating or anything like that, but Shaq, you would know what I'm saying. I don't know what it was, but I just felt a calm and a peace that, I don't know, had to be coming from the woman above. So I felt really confident about today. I felt good. I felt like a kid. It felt like it was just fun out here.
Game 2, he became the first Knick with a 20-point double-double in a finals road game since Dave DeBusschere in 1973, the last year this franchise won a championship. 21 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. The Knicks went up 2-0 on the road in San Antonio. Then Charles Barkley said it on national television after a career of criticism.
He's been criticized in Minnesota. He's been criticized in New York. The MVP of the finals is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns.
The most remarkable detail in all of it is this. Towns had not scored a single fourth-quarter point through the first 2 games of the NBA Finals, despite being widely seen as New York's most important player in the matchup. That is not a player demanding the spotlight. That is a player who finally stopped fighting the role and started winning inside it. Kevin Durant said Hall of Famer. What he was really saying was this. Here is a player who makes the teams around him better in ways the box score will never fully capture. Here is a player whose value only becomes obvious when the right structure is built around him.
So I think the criticism of Karl tends to be over the top. He said it a couple years ago, I'm the best shooting big man in league history. He's certainly going to be in the conversation, and that's what makes him great. He's been really successful the last 3 years.
Karl-Anthony Towns is a champion. He stood on the floor at the Frost Bank Center in San Antonio on June 13th, 2026, and hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy for the first time in his career. The New York Knicks defeated the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5, their first NBA championship in 53 years. Towns called it a culmination of work coming together at the right moment. He said it was healing for the fans, for the alumni, for an entire generation of New York basketball that had been told about the great Knicks teams without ever seeing a trophy raised. He was right, and he was a foundational reason it happened. The man Jimmy Butler called soft on a microphone for the whole world to hear. The man sports radio buried for 9 years in Minnesota. The man traded for Julius Randle in a deal most people filed under desperation. He's going to be a Hall of Famer in this league. I spent hours putting this together. Hope you all enjoy it. And there's a new hype feature, so feel free to show some love with a hype. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.